Yeah, I hear you. Hey, what's up? This is your boy
There
Scott
you go.
Lewis,
There you
apartment
go.
gamer and more. What's up, everybody? I'm here with John. Everything BK Brooklyn Nets.
How's it going?
What's up, John?
Good to be here, Scott, as always, and good topic that we talk about as we approach the end of August into what could be a wild September leading
That's
up to
right.
Media Day.
It's gonna be crazy. I know one thing. Something better. I know somebody's job is on the line.
Somebody's.
Yeah, bodies. Yep. They better pray it work out. But
Most
anyway,
definitely.
yeah, I wanted to talk about the rookies and like how the league is always talking about how polarizing these players are because they shocked that you got three guards in this draft pick and we actually picked five players, which is the first time ever in NBA draft.
Right.
What you think about that, man?
Yeah, it was definitely historic. I think there was a lot of chatter about the Nets wanting to trade up, and there was somebody came out the other day with an article saying that, oh, it might have been the Nets' intention to trade up, but nobody was going to give up top talent in that 1 through 6 bracket, and the Nets had a missed opportunity. I definitely think it was a missed opportunity because now the Nets have the most capital in the whole NBA league, more than OKC. So it's like they could have if they really wanted to, but it seems like they were content with who the scouts really valued, and they wanted to go with a bunch of playmakers because their identity is they want playmakers that can play multiple positions, not necessarily caring about top scoring guys because they want guys that can do a little bit of everything. So it's kind of interesting how all five of the guys they drafted have similar prototypes.
Right.
It's just how are they going to grow their game offensively because they have playmaking strengths, but as far as what they could do defensively, what they could do offensively, that's going to be the real test for these five guys. So it's a huge gamble no matter how we look at this because these guys have to show in at least the next 2 to 3 years they could be rotation guys. You hope maybe 3 out of 5 can be rotation guys, and the other two guys maybe back end of the bench because not everybody I don't think is going to succeed just based off how young we are right now. And there might be 1 or 2 guys that might be able to handle it, but I think there are 3 out of 5 of those guys potentially that could really step up to the plate and be good rotation guys because that is what the Nets need are rotation guys for the future and hope that next year's lottery can somehow encompass a franchise guy because right now they don't have that. So it's definitely going to be a by the books committee as far as what this upcoming tough season is going to be about.
Right. Yeah. I was checking out Igor's game, Igor the men.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that he really didn't like we were saying before, he really didn't shoot well. He didn't shoot the three well, but in the summer games, he shot it over 40%, which is
Mm,
but he only took a small sample. That's
right.
really difficult to judge that. He took only a couple of shots really, but he shot over 40%, 43% to be exact. And let me see if I can bring it up. Yeah, they were trying to say that he was like Sean Livingston, which would be that type of player, but they're saying that he could have a possibility of being like Clay Thompson. That is a high
Mm,
bar. That is a high bar to try to make to
very
put
high.
him put in word up. On
That's
a
super
per
high.
minute basis. He has attempted threes about twice as frequent as he did in college, which that was just in the summer games, and he has made 43% of them. The 19 said that his first game that he now preferred to call himself a playmaker rather than a point guard. I look at him as a playmaker. Clearly, I don't look at him as a point guard though. What you think?
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of right about that. For me, when this team is somewhat complete, I would like him to be a huge part of running the offense. But it seems Yegor, in his short sample size so far, has really tried to take on that leadership role. Like, he really knows how to get guys in plays, keep everybody focused, talked about team basketball, nobody just being solo out there, coming together as a team. It seems Yegor is definitely embodying that extension of the coach and what the coach wants to run. So for me, I would really like for Yegor eventually to run the offense of this team. Maybe not as the primary point guard, but as a playmaker that's definitely going to push the offensive tempo when it's needed. I think for him right now, strength and quickness are two huge weaknesses, and he admitted the strength factor is what he's going to work on primarily this first year. So even if it doesn't look like he's scoring crazy points every day, as long as he's looking different physically as the season progresses, you can kind of see the ebbs and flows of what he's trying to develop. As
Yeah.
far as how he can get his quickness up, he did show a little bit of defensive aggression in the short sample size in summer league, just as far as trying to get his legs under him. So I think for him, if he can get the strength and speed factor going this season, it's going to make the offense a lot better. I didn't expect him to go off like Duncan Robinson from three this past summer. I don't know if he's an honorary splash brother yet, like Klay Thompson, but we
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
we have time to work up towards that for sure. But it was definitely good because people
Yeah.
said 3 point shooting was a weakness of his, and already he's turning that into a strength. That was great. He had, I think, two interior plays. One of them was a dunk. I was like, okay, there's some athletic ability in his body, but we definitely want to see the interior offense more this season. But that's only going to happen once he gets his quickness up and he gets physically stronger. Because right now he can't get past a lot of guys. So that is
Right.
definitely going to be a big test for him. But I look forward to seeing how he builds on more, especially as far as the 3 point shooting goes, just adds more versatility to his game. But definitely saw some good upside from Yegor. It's just we got to see a more complete picture as his first season progresses. But I definitely think he has a lot of potential for sure.
Yeah. Sean Marks was saying during a pre-draft workout, the men showed. He said he showed us out here at the Nets practice facility that he can absolutely shoot the ball. The men impressed scouts and executives at his pro day too, but it's still something of a shock to see a guy who shoots 69.5% from the free throw line last season fire away with such confidence. You know what? Maybe he's better than what we think he is. Maybe he
Mm.
was just playing to what the college team wanted him to play and he didn't shoot. He just worked on his team skill, you know. So I mean, as long as he hit his open shots, if he shoot over 40%, regardless if he only take 7 shots, clearly we want him to take more shots if you can hit over 40%. But just the threat of knowing that you can when you need to, I mean, that would be a good asset for him.
Most definitely. I think for Yegor, it's just about building up the confidence. I think he has a lot of tool skill sets that can be developed. It's just going to take time. And let's remember, he is Brooklyn Nets' first ever lottery pick in their
First
history.
ever.
So he definitely knows that there's a bar that the base is going to be watching him closely. And I think so far, the leadership qualities are what is eventually going to propel him forward because he's shown that he wants to be committed to being that QB of the team. Now, is he going to be the lead point guard? That's still left to be decided. But as far as his playmaking abilities, he does have the best vision potentially in this draft. I know Cooper Flag, some of these other guys have really great playmaking abilities, but Yegor might have the best vision potentially, especially with the 6'8" height. And if he can develop some athletic ability by getting stronger, makes him more of a dangerous player. And then the 3 point shooting, if that could actually progress more in regular season, that's definitely something that was a weakness can now be a strength. And if he could get his interior game going, you could definitely see a lot more positives. But I know that there's a high bar that some fans are setting for Yegor because he is that first lottery pick. But I think for him, he's saying, you know what, let me be a big part of this team by being that leader on the court, off the court, and you'll see those little ebbs and flows this season. May not show up in the winning column, but if you see Yegor average, let's say around 15 to 16 points, maybe five assists or something like that, 4 to 5 assists, and maybe 4.5 rebounds, something like that, that would be a decent first season for Yegor as far as just trying to establish himself. But if anybody's
Yeah.
expecting this guy to drop 20 points his first season, you're asking a guy to basically try to put it all together on the fly, where this season it's about his development and evolution. I think if you get physically stronger and amp up his quickness, you're going to start seeing a bit more confidence just in his overall game. And I think, like you said, Scott, he's got the confidence within him. It's just we haven't seen it consistently. For him,
Right.
this first season, it's about showing his skill set on a more consistent basis. And if we see that, we're going to start seeing him show that evolution. And I look
Yeah.
forward to it. I think this guy has confidence and leadership. It's just he's trying to figure out how to best help the team and not just help himself, which I think is a good attitude and one people should try to respect with Yegor's game because I don't think he's going to try to dominate every night, but he's definitely going to try to be impactful as far as being a good teammate and a leader. And I think that will speak more volumes and the physicality will come probably around the second season of his career.
Yeah, yeah. I think Jordy is the perfect coach for him too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Definitely agree.
So I've been looking at to change the subject a little bit. We're gonna talk about
Mm-hmm.
Cam Thomas.
Oof. Well, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I from what I heard, what I read so far is that he asked for $40 million, which is why which is kind of crazy. I mean, I wouldn't even, not to say that he's not worth $40 million, but he probably would have been worth $40 million 2 or 3 years ago. But the way,
Maybe.
but now it's like Brooklyn has the leverage on him. So right now, if he takes the exception, the $14 million, he's going to be a free agent. Which
Right.
I don't think that wouldn't be the best thing for him. I think taking what they did offer him $28 million, which I
Right.
thought was a decent amount, but they want a team option. So they want to be a 2 year, $28 million team option. So they want to
Right.
so they want the option to trade him,
Right.
to basically,
Right.
or give him another contract afterwards. Which, I wouldn't. I mean, would they be freeing up space to re-sign him again?
It's tricky, Scott, and
Yeah, that thing is tricky.
I hope this Cam Thomas saga ends soon because I feel like the Brooklyn base are arguing a lot against each other for unnecessary reasons. I think there's a large section of the base, I call them the Cam fans, that really value this guy, that think he's on that top tier level before he's really established anything. And there are people who are going, listen, the kid can score. That's obvious. His best Superman ability. But has he had a healthy season? No. Has he had a consistent season? No. Does he have a resume? No. And unfortunately, I've defended past few weeks saying that the organization definitely played a role in Cam's downfall because they never gave him a consistent, structured system around him. But he, at the same time, put his foot in his mouth a lot of times, especially last year when he told the Brooklyn media, "I got nothing to prove. Nobody can guard me. I'm one of the top scorers in this league. I'm not going back to the bench." Like Cam limited himself in many ways. As much as people want to defend him and say he's a young guy that believes in himself, that's all fine and dandy. But basketball is a bit of a political game, and you have to be able to have a relationship with the organization. And it seems these last 4 years, the organization hasn't done their due diligence in trying to form a relationship with them as far as a business one goes. And Cam, at the same time, has made it obvious that he wanted to be a top guy on this team, but he really didn't want to have to put in crazy work for it because he thought his scoring would carry him. And then everybody's looking at the playmaking, the rebounding, stuff like that. And the three big things holding Cam back right now are he's not athletic, he's not tall, and he's not a great defender. Like if he had all three of those elements I just mentioned, Scott, maybe 3 years ago he'd be looking around something around maybe $30 million. But unfortunately, he doesn't have the resume, doesn't have the longevity in 4 years as far as health goes, and he hasn't been
Right.
consistent enough. So if everything that could have went wrong for Cam Thomas went wrong, and for the organization to treat him as badly as they have, that's them being cold blooded, which I was telling Marks to be that for a while. But to do to Cam Thomas, who's right now your best scorer, it's a huge gamble because, like you said, Scott, he takes that $6 million. You're probably flipping him for a second round pick or meaningless assets, and then he goes somewhere else. The team invests in him, and he kicks your butt. Like you look like a fool in many ways because you didn't take the chance to invest in him properly. But at the same time, if Cam goes to another team, becomes a six man making decent money, but not being a number 1, 2, 3 option, the Nets are going, hey, maybe we're onto something, not offering him the $40 million he wanted. But at the same time, it goes back to what are we building right now? Right now, we don't have a franchise guy, don't have a secondary franchise guy. Maybe that could have been Cam in theory a few years ago. But his organization has really put their foot in the sand saying, Cam, we like you, but we don't value you as far as a number 1, 2, or even a third option. Maybe if we drafted somebody great next year, Cam is still on this team and gets re signed. Maybe he's eventually transitioned to a six man role. But Cam has said outright I don't want to go back to the bench. I don't want to be a six man. I want to be a $40 million player along the lines of RJ Barrett, Tyler Hero, etc. But unfortunately, he doesn't have the resume, doesn't have the health or the consistency to back up what he wants. So, like you said, Scott, if they
Yeah,
offered you a $14 million salary as a prove it year,
yeah,
prove it. At the end of the day, if you could be healthy, consistent, amp up your playmaking, amp up your rebounds, be more of an efficient scorer with Jordy like you showed last year, reevaluate next year. Maybe you could prove something to the NBA instead of saying, I have nothing to prove. And maybe that changes up the whole conversation. But I think the big thing holding this back is, like you said, Scott, they want a team option. Cam wants a player option. They want
right.
full control. Cam wants some control. And the way the organization's been doing this, they want to give him no control because he has no resume. So at the end of the day, take the 14 mil, roll the dice, and if you get traded next offseason, wish you the best of luck. But at the end of the day, this Brooklyn team moves as a unit, and you need a core. And if Cam Dole's only part of that core, you got to sign and trade him, Scott. Like at this point, if he takes the
Yeah,
$6 million, it could lead to even more drama than what we're talking about right now. He can veto trades. He can be purposely benched in favor of the young guys, which destroys his value even more, and you trade him for nothing. So I hope, in the best interests of the team moving forward, he takes the $14 million and proves it. But at the end of the day, given how bad the organization has handled this communication side of things, I don't see this working out for either side. And for Cam Thomas, if you don't want to be part of this future, then just say you want out at this point. If you think you could go prove it somewhere else, go do that. But at the end of the day, we need to move forward in the best interests of this team. As much as
right.
Cam thinks he's on that level, you got to prove it more. You have not proven you could be healthy for 4 straight years. And in last year, which was the big year, you only played 25 games. So I hope he takes the 14 mil and we could end this drama once and for all. But Scott, it's 9 days till September. If
Yeah,
this is not resolved and this goes into September, they got to end this before it becomes an oblivious nightmare. But I just don't see it
yeah,
getting better right now.
yeah. I was reading on NBC Sports. They were saying that Thomas will be this is quote directly from NBC Sports. Thomas is a restricted free agent, and there are rumors that he ideally would like a contract close to 40 million a
Whew,
season. Wow, that's
not
not
happening.
happening. That's not
Nope. Not even
leak.
EuroLeague. Not even EuroLeague has an offer on the table
That's
for him
not
right now.
happening. League sources not tied to the negotiation told NBC Sports they think an offer closer to what the Warriors reportedly have put in front of Jonathan Kaminga, a 2-year, 45 million would get the deal done. When the Athletics surveyed 16 league executives about Thomas, most said they think he's worth between 20 and 30 million a season. But they only wanted to do a 2-year deal for the 23-year-old. So a lot of teams, Brooklyn has the leverage here, and with that has offered just 2 years at the mid-level exception, which is 14.1 million, with the second year of that being a team option. I see what you mean about the player option, a very
Right.
tradable contract that leaves Thomas with the choice of taking that offer or playing for the 5.9 million qualifying offer, then being an unrestricted free agent next summer.
Right.
Oh boy,
The,
I
pro- the
don't
problem is the reason why they don't want to give the player options based on just Cam's attitude and how he's responded to the past coaching and how they want to work on things. I don't think they trust Cam just because his body language at times is dictated like he's unwilling to want to evolve his game to what they want to because he thinks that the scoring can carry a team. But unfortunately, as a starter, many people have shown the record that he has, and it's not good. But unfortunately, he hasn't had a good team around him. So like I can understand like both sides of it. But at the end of the day, the stats you can't argue with them fully because he wants the $40 million. But with the record he has as a starter, he's not in a position to demand that kind of money. It's unfortunate, but it's just the way the business or the cookie crumbles in this sense.
yeah,
But
I
for Cam
think
Thomas, you ain't getting that money. Like you just have to take the 14 mil and prove it. But at this point, it just seems like both him and the front office are on different islands right now. But they have to come together soon. We are less than 30 something days from media day, and you do not want this to go into media day with the Brooklyn media asking Sean Marks, so when is Cam coming back? Like, you just don't want that. That's already setting a horrible tone for what's going to be a very tough season for these young rookies. And if Cam wants to be part of it, great, take the $14 million. But if you don't, you got to figure out a way to get to trade Cam as soon as possible. As soon as he takes that $6 million qualifying offer, it's a detriment because if you don't let him play much, but he wants to get his value up, it could cause a lot more strife between him and the organization, and then they have to trade him at a certain point. So I hope he takes the 14 mil and let this be his prove it year. But at the end of the day, Scott, Cam, he wants a player option because he wants to control his own future. But looking at the teams like Washington, Lakers, who could have big cap space. If I'm the Brooklyn Nets organization, I don't want Cam to walk for nothing. And Cam could say, "I'll decline my player option and walk for nothing."
Yeah,
So I just
so
think
they're
there's
not
no
gonna.
trust there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're not gonna let that happen. I mean, they're gonna probably he probably gonna end up taking that player option. I think that's a bad move. I think the exception is a bad move because you don't want to be a free agent in this market.
right,
But hey, listen, Cam knows what Cam wants. If he feels that he's worth that much, then do your thing. I wish him the best. I mean I understand where he stand at, but for the detriment of the team, that wouldn't be good.
right. And I'm a Brooklyn based member. I'm not a Cam fan. I've come to respect his scoring side of his game after worried that he was just a scorer with an ego, but he backed it up at little points. But you look at the totality of it all, Cam hasn't proven a whole lot besides scoring. And at the end of the day, everybody says, can he impact winning? Well, not on this team with over five rookies and a few vets. And I understand Cam looking at guys like Terrence Mann and Claxton, two guys who offensively aren't great players on that side of the ball, yet they're making more money than him. And he feels like he should be getting paid that 40 million just because he can average around 25 to 26 points. That's all fine and dandy, but his playmaking needs to be a lot better. You saw some of that last year, but now they've taken the point guard role out of Cam's potential future. Now he's just a scoring guard that can
Yeah,
pass the ball, get a
yeah,
few rebounds. That's good, but it's not $40 million good. And I think
right.
Cam just needs to understand that there's a market against him right now because they don't value him like that. Just because nobody has the money and the Brooklyn organization doesn't trust him. I think I said it perfectly. At the end of the day, yes, his organization played a part in his downfall, but they're not the center here. It's Cam Thomas and what has he done? And he just hasn't done a lot to warrant that type of money. So I think he takes the $14 million, let it be a prove a year, and then prove everybody wrong. If you do, great. If you
Yeah,
don't, well, we were right in what we said. Like
yeah,
it's much more easier and simple than that.
yeah. His agent, Alex, whatever, it's a tar, must decide whether to market for Thomas' service. Will be there next summer, or if he's willing to bet on it. Even at the Nets' current offer, he would be leaving 8 million this season on the table. A lot for a player. Yeah, that's a lot of money for a player who's yet to make more than 4 million in a season. So he
Right,
has right. I mean, is it worth the risk? Do the sides find a better compromise closer to the deadline? A player, it's possible. Maybe they'll play it out to the last minute, and then he has to make a decision, or the team will make a decision whether the team stay firm with what they want to do. That's to be seen, but clearly you don't want to be a free agent in this market. That's for sure.
right.
So
And it's a tough situation, but if he takes the $6 million, he's basically saying, "I don't want to be part of this team's future. I don't want to be a
right,
pawn in Sean Mark's game." Because I think you and I both know, Scott,
yeah.
Cam's future, even if you resign, would likely be a trade chip to get a potential star upgrade or another star option or something like that,
I'm
because he
caught.
is a
I'm
valuable
sure he's
scorer.
looking at it. I'm sure he's looking at it that way too.
Yeah, like he doesn't have to play the game, but if he does take the $6 million, Sean Marks, you got to trade him as soon as possible because you can't let him walk for nothing, and you don't want the young guys to get discouraged by it. Like it's crazy, Scott, because we have this Michael Porter Jr. podcast drama, we have the Cam Thomas drama, but it's supposed to be about the rookies right now, who we
Right.
drafted, who we're trying to develop. They don't need this stuff hanging over their heads like a dark cloud, and I
Yeah.
don't think Cam Thomas wants to be that distraction. But if he clearly doesn't want to be here and feels like he's actually worth $40 million, I'm sorry, Cam. Brooklyn is not going to give it to you. If you take that $6 million, you're basically telling every one of us that you're not going to play here unless you're getting paid like a Kyrie Irving. Unfortunately, Cam, you're no Kyrie. Like you can maybe score like him on a certain night, but you don't have his resume. You don't have the resume of other top scoring guards in the NBA right now. Yes, you may have matched a few records in those 40-point performances, but did that lead to anything significant? No, it did not. So if Cam takes his $6 million, unfortunately, I have to go with what's best for the Brooklyn organization and the team. I'm a Brooklyn Nets first, and I'm not a Cam Thomas fan second. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, Scott?
Right,
Like
right.
we've defended Cam Thomas, but if you take the
Yeah.
$6 million, you're forcing our hand too. Like I'm not going to say, Cam, you did such a good job defying the organization, taking $6 million. No, Cam, you've basically said you don't want to be part of this team. I hope it takes the $14 million. Then I can feel knowing, hey, Cam wants to prove something this year. I'm definitely going to watch. I'm going to watch the young guys development. I'm going to see Cam, and I hope he actually develops and proves us wrong. But if he doesn't, what are we left with, Scott? At that point, he has to
Yeah.
go.
Would they who would they trade him to if they decided to trade Cam Thomas? That's the
It's that's
question.
that's the big
That's the
question.
big
And
question. What about the
well,
Warriors?
yeah, nah. I mean, we theorized about it. I don't see it happening anytime soon. And the Kaminga situation, if that doesn't get done by September, that is probably the biggest, toughest situation of the restricted free agents because Stephen Curry wants to win a title, and there's certain free agents that haven't signed yet because the Kaminga situation is still unresolved. And if those other free agents like Giddy, Grimes, and Thomas are waiting for the Kaminga domino to drop, well, your time is coming up too. So I hope they're not just waiting for that. So I hope the Kaminga situation gets resolved and these other situations get resolved right after because it's definitely held up free agency more than I think anybody thought. So I hope that's what happens if that's where the dominoes are lining up. But like you said, Scott, there could be a number of teams that want Cam Thomas. I mean, a $14 million salary is way different from a $6 million salary. Like, if there's a team that can afford to part with a cheap salary piece and maybe a second pick or two for Cam Thomas, they'll do it. But at the end of the day, if that's the best you can get, Sean Marks, you got to take an L for this. But as much as Cam Thomas is at fault
That's
for
right.
wanting to decline a big
That is
contract,
on
you trade
Sean too.
yeah, like if you trade him for meager assets, he goes to a team, becomes a six man, making $20 million, and he plays well. Sean Marks, that L is on you and Joe Desai because you didn't value him or gave him a chance. Like you can look at both sides as I choose to go at both ends. I'm giving Cam Thomas accountability and I'm giving Sean and Joe accountability if this all goes south because they all
Yeah,
played a role in this going bad.
they
But
sure
at the
enough.
end, yeah, but at the end of the day, like you said, Sky, if he's making $6 million, there could be a number of teams come the trade deadline if they really want his 20 points off their bench, which primarily that would be probably, they'll probably trade something for Cam Thomas. But you have to get as much as you can at that point. And I hope a team is actually willing to take a swing for Cam Thomas because I think he could help another team as far as a bench role goes as a six man. But it'll be interesting to see who becomes desperate at the deadline. And if Cam takes the $6 million, how many minutes, how many games is he going to play? Because he has to be healthy pretty much the whole time around for a team to even consider trading for him at the deadline. That is going to be a huge thing to look at as well.
Yeah, I just have this feeling that if Cam goes somewhere else, he's gonna end up with a fucking ring.
Hey, at least you're the one saying it, Scott.
He get traded to a team that's on the up and up, trying to get trying to get a title, trying to win a title. He would make a great six man.
He would.
He would make a great six man. He'd be good to come off the bench.
Right.
Scoring will not come down.
Right.
I mean, it depends on how he feels and how he wants to, how he feel about playing in Brooklyn. I don't know.
Right, and it's hard to come up with teams like be interested, but I'll just put a few teams out there. I still think the Bucks, like even if they don't want to do a sign and trade, they still have guys making minimum contracts on the team right now, and they have a pick left. So if they want to do a little trade for Cam Thomas to get his bench scoring, they could be a team that might be desperate. You can never rule out the Lakers because they right now need anything to be a championship team right now. They have Luca, who they just signed to a big contract. LeBron, this might be the last go with them. They might need another scorer off that bench. I wouldn't count them out either. They have some contracts they might want to give up, and the Nets have cap space to do so. So that's another team I would rule out. Memphis is another interesting team.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
a good.
they really need another scoring option. So those are three teams I would pay attention to potentially for Cam Thomas if he's only making $6 million. I think
Yeah,
each of them can make a decent offer at that point.
yeah, because teams are trying to stay under that second apron for
Right.
sure. It's just I knew this last season. I was saying to myself, this is no way. This is going to be a good time for Cam Thomas, especially coming, with this second apron and the way the market is with all these shooters. I guess he was looking at what the Miami was paying their shooting guard.
Tyler Hero. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
and, and
Tyler Hero got that deal before shit hit the fan though.
right, but at the end of the day, Tyler Hero, you're right, but Tyler Hero has a resume. He was a six man, which Cam Thomas has never really been. I know he played off the bench a bit, but he didn't really have play enough off the bench to warrant any type of six man vote. So you take that out of there. And he also was a third option at one point behind Jimmy and Bam. And
Right.
last year, even though it was a horrible season, he was the primary option. Now we all know he's never going to be a primary option, but if there was a Giannis on that team, he'd be a secondary star potentially just because Giannis is one of the elite, but most likely he's a third option behind Bam and whoever that star would be on that team. That's where I think Cam Thomas could see himself at, but the way he wants that money, he's acting like he's a one or two guy, which he is not because he has limitations on that side of the ball. So as much
Well,
as he wants to say he deserves Hero money, Hero has a resume though. Hero's actually been in those roles before consistently because the team gave him an opportunity. Cam had to force the situation. Like there's differences there that I don't think some of the Cam fans want to admit. As much as they like Cam Thomas, has Cam gotten the resume to warrant that type of money? No.
not yet. That's for sure.
No, that's being honest. That's not being brutal to hate on the guy, but it's being honest because Scott, we're coming down to brass tacks now. We can't just defend Cam hoping that he gets some type of decent money. We have to look at what he's doing for himself, what he's done for the team, and he
Right.
hasn't done a whole lot yet to warrant put himself in those conversations.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And plus, you got to let the yeah, you don't want to tie your money up into a Cam Thomas $40 million deal. Yeah,
Exactly. That
yeah,
would be, oof, that'd be
that would
horrible.
be crazy. $40 million a year, even
Mm.
35 is crazy.
Oof. I thought 18 to 20 would be a high bar, but I'm even having questions about that right now based on his lack of commitment
Yeah,
to the team.
20 was enough for me. If giving him 20 a year would have been great. I don't think. I think honestly speaking, they're telling him that you worth 30 to 40, but that's on a team that already situated that can use your talent.
Right.
Where the Nets don't, they are in rebuild mode. You got rookies around you and everything. You're gonna end up being the man. It's just best to play it out. Take the offer and play it out. See what's going. Get some money. Get some of your money at least.
Right.
You don't want to be like getting paid the same $2-3 million.
Right.
Take that $8 million. You leaving $8 million on the table. That's kind of hard to do.
I'll be honest with you. If he takes the 14 million, he's actually humbling himself. He's actually saying, "Listen, I know that I have set a high bar for myself. I still believe it, but I'm willing to play ball here a little bit. But I hope that you guys watch and focus and see what I do this year, and let's reevaluate." I'll actually have even more respect for Cam Thomas if he does that because at the end of the day, you have no options. Yes, you can screw this organization over, look like a good guy in front of your Cam fans, but at the end of the day, is that how you want to go out like that? Because no other team is going to give you that $40 million. The
Nobody.
NBA sees you as a six man right now. You still have time to maybe convince some people that you can be a third option on this team. That's where I have Cam as a high bar, a third option, because he could be
Yeah.
that guy eventually if he had the right development, he had the investment from this team. Let's remember, OKC at one point wanted to trade Shea away before he became the franchise guy and had a Michael Jordan esque championship season. I'm not saying
Yeah.
Cam's going to follow that same path, but if they could have a partnership, actually communicate with each other, let the year play out. Maybe Cam and these rookies could develop something together, not winning whatsoever, but as far as a foundation, a philosophy, and some type of culture, that could be something to take away from this season. But Cam needs to be able to play ball with that process. And if he doesn't, we have to make the hard choice to trade him eventually, and it would suck a little bit. But at the end of the day, I'm a Brooklyn Nets guy. I want the team to succeed no matter what. And if Cam wants to hinder that, then we just have to move off for him. But if he takes the 14 million, Scott, I think he could definitely open up some people's eyes this year and prove he could be a third option potentially. But he has to
Yeah.
be healthy and consistent enough to do so. So the ball really is in his court. Do you want to play a minimal role for a team, or do you want to actually play a big role on a team that is rebuilding, but you have a chance to open up people's eyes and show something they haven't seen yet? I
Right.
hope he takes that. I hope he takes that route.
I
But we'll
hope
see.
so too. I hope so too. Yeah, I ain't gonna keep you, John. This show's gonna be a short show. I think I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
get off right now, but I'm gonna be on Saturday. I know you're gonna join me.
Mm-hmm.
So till Saturday, we'll be back.
Yeah, definitely. Have a good one, Scott.
Net fans are the best fans, of course. So peace, everybody.
Peace.